Welcome back to invertebrates. We're going to be talking about our second category of inverts called Cnidaria. Cnidaria means stinging creature, and these types of animals are animals like jellyfish, like coral, like hydra, like sea anemones. All of these are examples of Cnidaria. Cnidaria have this really cool thing called radial symmetry. And when I like to think of radial symmetry, I like to think of a pizza. Because no matter how you cut it in half, up and down, side to side, diagonal, every single time you cut it, you will have exactly half, and those two halves will look the same. Okay? Our Cnidaria move up in our cellular organization. Our porifera only had cells. Our Cnidaria have cells and tissues. Here you can see a picture of one cell all by itself on the left. That is a picture of a hydra zooming in on the cells. And you can see each cell on the right is what I meant. Each cell on the right coming together to make that tissue. And you see you have the two different types of tissue right there. Their structure: they have a central body cavity or an opening in the middle where all the food goes in, and then a little bit gross, all the waste goes out here too. So everything goes in and out the same way. Cnidaria also have tentacles. These tentacles have things called stinging cells on them. That's why jellyfish hurt when you touch them, sea anemones hurt when you touch them. And these are used not only for feeding, but also for defense. And there are two different types of body structures that we're going to talk about. The first one is called the polyp. And the polyp is the way it's shaped. Notice that these polyps open up to the top, so the mouth is at the top, and the tentacles go from the top. The bottom of a polyp is almost always attached to a surface. So when we think of polyps, we normally think of sea anemones and coral. So in your note packet, you have this picture of a polyp. Let's go ahead and label the mouth and label the tentacles. Our second type of Cnidaria is called a medusa. And a medusa is pretty much the opposite. The mouth points down, or the mouth opens down. Think of your jellyfish. The tentacles spread from the bottom, and they move freely around in the water. And our most common example is, in fact, a jellyfish. So let's label together in our note packet the medusa. Let's label the tentacles that are pointing down, and let's label the mouth that is also opening down. Cnidaria do not have any systems. They don't have a digestive system. All they have is an opening that holds food and puts it back into the ocean. And they do not have a circulatory system. They don't have blood pumping. Nope, their cells are just talking to each other. In order for Cnidaria to eat, they have these really cool things called cneidocytes. And cneidocytes are special cells with stinging organelles located on them. So they're special cells that cause a jellyfish to be able to sting people. And then once the organism is stung, those tentacles wrap around it and pull that prey into the mouth. Once the prey is digested in the mouth then expels the waste. So the mouth eats and it gets rid of the waste. Here's a quick video of hydra eating. Hydra is an example of a medusa, a polyp. So you can see it uses those tentacles to sting, incapacitate the organism, and pull the organism into the mouth of the hydra. You can tell it's a polyp because it's attached at the one end to the slide, and the other end is wiggling freely to try and catch this animal. And there you have it. Let's look a little bit more in depth at those cnidocytes. So these cnidocytes essentially have a barbed wire on them, and they're like a spring-loaded cell. And whenever they are triggered through chemical signaling and stuff like that, this barbed wire attached to the thread actually shoots out and stings the animal. So here's a quick video watching how jellyfish sting.
You're swimming in the ocean when something brushes your leg. When the tingling sets in, you realize you've been stung by a jellyfish. How do these beautiful gelatinous creatures pack such a painful punch? Jellyfish are soft because they are 95% water and are mostly made of a translucent gel-like substance called mesoglea. With such delicate bodies, they rely on thousands of venom-containing stinging cells called cnidocytes for protection and prey capture. Even baby jellyfish, the size of a pencil eraser, have the ability to sting. Larval jellyfish, ephyrae, look like tiny flowers pulsating in the sea. As they grow, they become umbrella-shaped with a bell at the top and descending tentacles around the margin. The largest species of jellyfish, the lion's mane, has tentacles that can extend more than 100 feet, longer than a blue whale. These tentacles contain most of the stinging cells, although some species have them on their bells too. Venom is ejected via a nematocyst, a whip-like hollow tubule, which lies coiled under high osmotic pressure. When mechanical or chemical stimuli activate an external trigger, the lid of the cell pops open and seawater rushes in. This forces a microscopic barbed harpoon to shoot out, penetrate and inject venom into its victim. Nematocyst discharge can occur in less than a millionth of a second, making it one of nature's fastest biomechanical processes. Nematocysts can continue to fire even after a jellyfish has died, so it's important to remove lingering tentacles stuck to the skin. Rinsing with vinegar will usually render undischarged nematocysts inactive. Seawater can also help remove residual nematocysts. But don't use fresh water, because any change in salt balance alters the osmotic pressure outside of the cnidocyte and will trigger the nematocyst to fire. That's why urinating on the affected area, a common folk remedy, may do more harm than good depending on the composition of the urine. Most jellyfish stings are a painful nuisance, but some can be deadly. An Indo-Pacific box jelly, also called a sea wasp, releases venom which can cause contraction of the heart muscles and rapid death in large doses. There's an antivenom, but the venom is fast-acting, so you need immediate medical intervention. Despite the impressive power in their tentacles, jellies aren't invincible. Their stinging cells are no match for the armor of thick-skinned predators like the leatherback turtle and ocean sunfish. These predators both have adaptations that prevent slippery jellyfish from escaping after they are engulfed. Backwards pointing spines in the turtle's mouth and esophagus, and recurved teeth behind the sunfish's cheeks. Even tiny slipper lobster larvae can cling to the bell of a jellyfish and hitch a ride, snacking on the jelly while they preserve their own energy for growth. Small agile fish use the jellies as moving reefs for protection, darting between tentacles without ever touching them. Nudibranchs, which are sea slugs covered in protective slime, can actually steal the jelly's defenses by eating the cnidocytes and transferring them to specialized sacs for later use, as weapons against their own predators. Even humans might benefit from the sting of a jellyfish one day. Scientists are working on manipulating cnidocytes to deliver medicine with nematocysts rarely 3% of the size of a typical syringe needle. So, the next time you're out in the ocean, be careful, but also take a second to marvel at its wonders.
All right, our next video, give me just a second. So here is a video showing what it looks like under a microscope. There they go. There are the barbs releasing the toxins, technically venom, into the prey. And then once that venom has incapacitated the prey, they're going to use the tentacles to pull that prey into their mouth and eat it. How crazy is that? That was under a slow-mo camera. All right. Now let's talk about the reproduction of Cnidaria. So there are two types of reproduction. The first one is asexual, using that budding, the same type of budding that we saw in our sponges. This is mostly seen in our polyp form, where they grow a little polyp off to the side, and it will fall off, and it will fall into a place where it can grow. Cnidaria also do sexual reproduction with sperm and egg, and again we have external fertilization. So we have fertilization that happens out in the water. The male releases the sperm, the female releases the egg, and they hope that they meet in the water. So here is a quick video. Oh, sorry, wrong button.
Jellyfish is born. In a few months, the sea nettle jellyfish grows several hundred times in size. It trails 5 meters of stinging tentacles.
All right, let's talk about a couple cool characteristics of Cnidaria. The first one is that some of them go through both the polyp and the medusa stage, so they are both sessile and they are free-floating. The box jellyfish, or the sea wasp, can kill humans within minutes, but it's only found in Australia. A group of jellyfish is called a smack. And a hydra is an example of a polyp Cnidaria that moves around. So yes, it's going to fix itself on a surface, but it's also going to float around and then fix itself to another surface. There are a couple more videos for you guys to watch, but you have taken your Cnidaria note.